Netanyahu is trying to actually start a third world war by pushing America into a confrontation with Iran on this war. If he could only succeed, and that is his plan, to get America and Iran into a direct military confrontation, then God help all of us.
Hello and welcome to the Africa News Network.
The First World War, which then gave the Middle East to British Mandate territory. The Second World War, where Europe, out of a sense of guilt because of what happened during the Holocaust, the pogrom against Jews, now gave the Middle East to the Jews. And the United Nations created two states. And that was the beginning of this unending violence, the beginning of the injustice, and the beginning of the war. And so we are now faced with an issue where the language that is being used is the language of ethnic cleansing. International law being violated by both sides. And we need to be careful. When I say we, I mean we, the world. First of all, we created this problem when the United Nations decided to create two states in the Middle East, an Israeli state and an Arab state. And yet, from that time on, the world has not showed a level appreciation of the suffering inflicted upon the people there. As an aside, we Africans have cause to be thankful to God because the British first offered Uganda as a homeland for the Jews. It was the Jews who rejected that offer and said they don't have any attachment to Uganda, that their attachment was to that homeland which Exodus gave them. We need to be careful, secondly, because what we say is dependent on our source of news. I will be blunt. The CNN and the BBC are pro-Israel. Al Jazeera is pro the Palestinians. So our choice of language depends on the channel that we listen to. So this problem did not start 3 days ago with what with what Hamas did. As the Palestinian ambassador to the United Nations said, if you treat people as animals, they'll turn around and start behaving like animals. We even have it in our own cultural language here. If you flog a goat, it will start to run. When that goat gets to a wall, it will turn around and start to fight you. The way the Palestinians have been treated over the years, with the international community just condemning Israel for the way it has treated the Palestinians, just condemnation, and has done nothing to protect and advance the interests of the Palestinians, is unconscionable. And so to condemn Hamas for what he did 3 days ago, to me, is an aberration of justice. I am not saying that all the things that the Palestinians have done since the creation of Israel makes sense. It cannot. You see, when you are based in an irrational situation, some of your own reactions and some of your own actions will have to be rational. But the Palestinians have been more sinned against than sinning. What we are hearing now from the Israeli Prime Minister is that he's going to wipe Hamas off the face of the earth in Gaza. if you do that, it's, some of the people who are fighting on the side of Hamas were not even born when the Oslo Agreement was signed. So if you wipe out this generation of the Palestinians in Gaza, another generation, unless you are going to wipe out all Palestinians from the face of the earth, and you can't do that. Nobody has the capability to do that. You will simply be creating a new generation of embittered people who will continue to fight in order to get their justice. So the United Nations that created Israel has to now take responsibility for giving a way forward program. And what will be the way forward? Number one, we have to go back to the Oslo Accord. The two-state solution is still the best solution. Israel cannot continue to implement a plan that says it is the homeland for all Jews all over the world. And so the settlers continue to come in and take over Palestinian land, and they are protected by the Israeli government and by the Israeli army. The UN has to put a stop to this. The Palestinians must restate their acceptance of the state of Israel. Yasser Arafat, whom I met several times, did this at the United Nations. Let the present leadership of the Palestinians restate their acceptance of the state of Israel as a homeland for the Jews. And the Israelis must remove the settlers from Palestinian land so we could have a state of the Palestinians. The government in Israel that they are supporting is the most atrocious government that Israel has had. Basically, I am pro-Israeli because what happened to them during the Second World War, we are all going to face Judgment Day. But it's not the Palestinians, it's not the Arabs who inflicted that Holocaust upon the Israelis. It is the Europeans. And the Europeans who could have saved Jewish lives by allowing them, taking them in as refugees, did not do so. And so out of a sense of guilt, they've always bent over backwards, and they are still doing so in the support of Israel. And let me say one thing. Netanyahu is trying to actually start a third world war by pushing America into a confrontation with Iran on this war. If he could only succeed, and that is his plan, to get America and Iran into a direct military confrontation, then God help all of us.